Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Seattle Mariners in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Mariners, right-hander Bryan Woo, and for the Padres, right-hander Yu Darvish. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 1:10 p.m. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. I go one-on-one with Padres Major League coach Nick Punto as we welcome the 14-year MLB vet to the program for the very first time this season. We check in with Jesse Agler in Seattle in just a little bit. Our keys to the game, a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup, and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 75-58. They entered the day 1 game out of first place in the National League West and firmly sitting in the NL second wildcard spot. Mariners, meanwhile, enter 71-62. They continue to chase the Astros for first place in the AL West. They enter today a game and a half behind Houston. Once again, we had a seesaw battle last night in Seattle. Let's run it back.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Luis Castillo took the mound for Seattle in the top of the first inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. got the Padres going, a leadoff double. Xander Bogaerts drove him in with an RBI single to make it 1-0. Later in the inning, the bases were loaded for Ramon Laureano.
Bases loaded, 2 out. Here's the 1-2. And Laureano swings, sends it in the air to left field and deep. Arozarena's racing back. He is at the wall. This one gonna go! A grand slam for Laureano. Ramon Laureano goes deep in Seattle for the second straight night, and this one is big. 5-0 here in the first.
Laureano's second career grand slam. Padres had a 5-0 lead before Dylan Cease even took the mound. Cease was in cruise control early on. He retired the first 11 batters he faced, but Padres still led 5-0 going to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Cease got in trouble for a second straight inning. There were 2 on for Randy Arozarena.
Pitch swung on, hit in the air to very deep left field. Oh boy, long gone for Arozarena into the second deck in Seattle. A 3-run homer, his 25th of the year, and this thing has gotten much tighter. 5-3 in the 5th.
Cease wouldn't get out of the 5th inning. Jason Adam came in later in the inning. 2 on base for Eugenio Suarez.
Jason kicks and deals, and that's it in the air to deep left. Sheets is back. He's at the wall. Oh, it's going to go. 3-run homer. Suarez came back with the slider, and he got him. Seattle has erased their 5-0 deficit. They lead it 6-5.
But the Padres answered in the 6th inning. There were 2 in scoring position for Jake Cronenworth.
So 3-2 now to Cronenworth. 7th pitch of the at-bat is on the way, and Jake swings, lines it into left field, base hit. Sheets will score to tie the game as Laureano advances to third. RBI single Jake Cronenworth. And we start over again at 6-6.
With runners on first and third, nobody out, it was Freddie Fermin.
Ferguson deals, he squares again. Fermin bunts it back towards the mound, and the run will score. Throw to first in time by Ferguson, who just barely got Fermin, but the Padres go back ahead on the squeeze bunt. It's 7-6.
From that point, it was the power of the Padres' pen. Adrian Morejon, a scoreless 6th inning. Mason Miller, a scoreless 7th inning. Jeremiah Estrada did the same in the 8th. It was Robert Suarez facing the very top of Seattle's lineup in the 9th.
The 2-2 pitch to Rodriguez, lined sharply to right. Fernando there, and he makes the catch to end the game. Suarez, a 1-2-3 9th inning against Arozarena, Raleigh, and Rodriguez to pick up his 35th save of the year, and the Padres win a hardcore seesaw battle tonight in Seattle by a final of 7-6.
Really, really nice win for the Padres. They even up this series at a game apiece, and now an opportunity to win this series in the rubber game with first pitch coming up at 1:10. Let's go up to the Pacific Northwest.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Jesse, turning the page to this series finale, opportunity for the Padres to win this series in Seattle. They go up against right-hander Bryan Woo on the mound for the Mariners here tonight. And Jesse, Bryan Woo has been very, very good for this Seattle team. He's really one of the more promising young right-handers in the game.
No, he's one of the best pitchers in the game,
Yeah.
I would argue right now. Promising, sure, but he's lived up to his promise. And, the big stat about Woo right now is that he's gone at least 6 innings every start this year, 25 times. And, look, if you grew up in the 60s or the 70s or the 80s, you might scoff at that and be like, okay, he went 6 innings. What's the big deal? But as anybody who follows today's game knows, you just don't see that very often from guys. And to be able to do it every single time not only speaks to his durability, of course, but also speaks to his ability and his talent. And, Bryan Woo, I think, is a top 5 pitcher in the American League right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been absolutely terrific. And if you need any more evidence of how amazing that streak is, the next longest active streak is the injured Spencer Schwellenbach of the Braves. He's at 10 starts in a row of at least 6 innings. And again, Bryan Woo continues to do it. He's at 25 in a row of at least 6 innings. He's done it in every single one of his starts this season. So he's a tough test for the Padres here today. Yu Darvish coming off that really good outing in L.A. He'll, or I should say against LA at Petco Park. He'll make the start for the Padres today. Taking a look at the lineup today for the Padres, Jesse, no Luis Arraez, Ramon Laureano getting the start in center field. He's moved up to the number 2 spot, had the big grand slam last night, the home run on Monday night. Jesse, he continues to just be stellar, and now I suppose the hope is he can do it a little bit higher in the order here today.
Yeah, with, Arraez, I think a little bit hobbled after he gets stepped on here on Monday night. The day today with the day off tomorrow, hopefully gives Luis what he needs to get back to feeling okay for the weekend in Minnesota. Look, Ramon Laureano, he can hit anywhere in this order. And that's the great thing about the roster right now is that you've got guys both in the starting lineup most nights and on the bench most nights who you feel very comfortable with really doing any number of things because they've got great talent, great flexibility with these guys. This might not be a popular take right now, and at least in the land of social media and talk radio, but I love Laureano hitting 7th. I love it. I think he is extraordinarily dangerous down there. Is he good enough, quote unquote, to hit higher in the lineup? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And we'll see that here today, as you mentioned. But the grand slam, which was the biggest swing of the night last night, really until later in the game for the Padres yesterday, came because he was hitting 7th. And to have a guy that dangerous hitting that spot in the order can make life very, very difficult on opposing starters. So, yes, I love that he's hitting 2nd today because why not? With Arraez not in there, he's more than capable of doing so. This is a guy that can clean up. He can hit 2nd. If for whatever reason you needed him to, you'd feel very comfortable with him leading off. But as we've seen, he can also be an extremely dangerous bat, down somewhere towards the bottom.
Last meeting between these two teams in the regular season, of course, you can dream about October and what it could all be when it comes to late October in particular. But I'll tell you what, Jesse, I just want to hear your thoughts on this Mariners team because watching them the last couple of days, obviously they lost yesterday, but this seems like a really big threat in the American League, and Mariners fans should be excited. They've got a good rotation, really good bullpen, and a lineup that is pretty scary top to bottom. Your thoughts on the Mariners as we finish up this season series?
Yeah, I think, you look at it and you go, but how is their record only what it is? Especially the last couple of days, they look as dangerous as any team. Look, we don't get the opportunity to see the AL teams but once a year. So, my American League opinions are not quite as headstrong maybe as my National League opinions. But I think when we saw the Red Sox a few weeks ago in San Diego, I thought to myself, and I probably said aloud at some point, I think they're the best team in the American League. I probably shouldn't have been so straightforward about it because I think Seattle is in that conversation. I think Houston, who the Mariners are looking up at in the West, are part of that conversation. The Yankees, they can hit home runs with the best of them, but I don't know that they're necessarily in that class. Toronto has obviously had a great second half. They look like a much better team than the one we saw earlier this year, even though they handled the Padres. So, I've got the Mariners in that conversation as one of the best teams in the American League. And, whatever order somebody who watches those teams more than I do wants to put them in, that's fine. But I've got them in that class with Boston and Toronto and Houston. And I think that, they should have the very same aspirations that the Padres have in the National League. There's no reason for them to be thinking anything but World Series right now.
Good insight, Jesse. Big reason the Mariners can think World Series. They've got guys like Brian Wu in that rotation. Very, very talented right-hander making the start today against the Padres. Yu Darvish on the mound for San Diego. Jesse, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Tony Gwynn Jr. coming up at the very top of the hour.
You got it, Tim.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. When we come back, we told you about Luis Arraez not in the lineup today. We'll give you the full starting lineup for the Padres. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schill. A little bit later, I go one-on-one with Padres Major League coach Nick Punto, who spent a long time playing in the major leagues, now in a coaching role with the Padres. We catch up with Nick on the radio side of things for the first time this season. Our keys to the game, the latest on Jackson Merrill and Michael King. A lot to do as we get ready for a little Wednesday matinee as the Padres finish up this series rubber game in Seattle. Our our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 1:10 between the Padres and the Seattle Mariners. Padres going for a series win. Padres come into today winning 7 of their past 8 series. So if they can win today, it would make it 8 series wins in their last 9. We'll see if the Padres can get a good start today from Yu Darvish. He was very good against LA at Petco Park on Friday. Padres had 3 3 straight quality starts over the weekend from Yu Darvish, Nestor Cortez, and Nick Pivetta. 5 of their last 6 games before Monday, they received the quality start. Then you look at what they've received from the starting rotation in this series. Dylan Cease couldn't get out of the 5th inning in yesterday's game. JP Sears couldn't get out of the 4th inning in Monday's game. So the Padres could use a bit of a longer start today from Yu Darvish. And as we get ready for this series finale, let's hear from Mike Schilt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Day game after a night game, so no pregame media availability for Mike Schilt today. Padres played a seesaw battle last night. They had a 5-0 lead after Laureano hit the grand slam in the 1st inning. Then it all came crashing down in the bottom half of the 5th. A pair of 3-run home runs for the Mariners by Randy Arozarena and Eugenio Suarez made it 6-5, but then the Padres bounced back. They answered in the 6th inning. Jake Cronenworth RBI single to tie it. Safety squeeze with Freddie Fermin bunting, made it 7-6, and then the Padres bullpen did the rest. Morejon, Miller, Estrada, and Suarez combining for 4 scoreless innings to shut the door. These have felt like playoff games, really, between 2 really, really good teams, and like we alluded to with Jesse a little bit earlier, does make you dream of what we could see in late October, although we are a long ways from that. A lot of baseball left to play. Here was Mike Schilt after yesterday's 7-6 win for the Pods.
2 really good teams going at each other, playing just good, hard baseball. But yeah, I love the fact. I mean, obviously get the lead, you're up 5-0, 2 3-run homers. Next thing you know, you're down, and nobody hung their head. Let's go, let's figure it out. Winners find solutions. Very gutsy, very gritty, and it's on display. Who you are is when you're not at your most comfortable, and that's not a comfortable feeling when you're down 6-5 after being up 5-0 and could have gone to a lot of different places, but guys looked up, boom, ball down the line. Laureano does his thing, Crony tough 2-strike at bat, and then you got a great safety squeeze by Fermin. Of course, Laureano with the big blow earlier. Just a really hard win.
I know there's a lot of games left, but this is, you lose this one, it's probably not a great feeling, and you lose a game to the Dodgers, but to being in the heat and winning a game like this, what can it do for you?
Yeah, it does a lot. I mean, listen, we, that's what this is about, figuring it out. And so I'm just really pleased with how they competed. I mean, it's clearly they're all big wins at any point in the year. They get more magnified at this point in the year, but they all count equally. But that was a game that was nice to be able to figure out a way to bring it home. And, the bullpen, they put some good at-bats on the guys. Morejon clean. Miller went to him in the 7th because that's clearly a spot in the lineup. We know it's going to turn back over. We can go to Suarez, and they threw some good at bats on it, but threw a 0 up, made a pitch to Suarez, and Estrada did his part, and of course Suarez brought it home.
Yeah, we've kind of mentioned this before, but with this bullpen, being able to do that, being able to go to a guy like Miller in the 7th inning and add him in the 5th, and that kind of thing, how does that help you?
Well, I mean, it's just, you have the pieces every day. You put the pieces in the best spot you can. So, it made sense for Adam in the spot he was in. Dylan in control. The walks, guys are going to hit their heads, but the walks seems like always in front of something, on display twice before the 3-run homers. But yeah, it gives the freedom to get a guy that, has multiple out pitches and Adam in the game, and Suarez put a swing on him, that's going to happen. And also knowing that, look, Miller and Suarez are really good against lefties, but it lined up well in the sense of we attack the top. And we're going to run from lefties against Miller or Suarez, but sitting there going, okay, Miller goes and grabs the 7th and gets the top. We know we got a guy in Estrada that's really good against lefties. Not perfect, clearly, but really good against lefties. And he took down the 8th, and then Suarez did his part. But yeah, to answer your question, and clearly when those guys are available, it's a great opportunity to be able to manage the game.
Don't expect you to have an answer. It's one of those, if you did, you would have done it. But What happens with Dylan? So good, and then he gives the 2 spot, the 3 spot, the 4.
Yeah, I wish we had the answer to it because he's just cruising, and you're always thinking, at least I do, worst case scenario. And, so it gets to every inning, okay, this doesn't happen, and clearly you're going to have more rope, and then he's got a perfect game through 3. So you're sitting there going, all right, look at the pitches, doing the math, doing the and then it's like whack, and then you're into the 4th, and you don't want to, but to your point earlier, AJ, because they're rested, you go, can't let this one get away. So we have Morejon going, and clearly don't want to be in the 4th inning when our bullpen with anybody on the mound starting with their lead. But it didn't get hot, but he's ready in case, and then goes back out for the 5th. He's got a chance to get a win, and gets away a little bit, but we have Adam ready to come in. So the answer is, the long answer to your question that I don't even think I've answered yet is I wish we knew. I really feel confident when he gets that 4th and 5th, and me explaining that I always have a contingency isn't a lack of confidence. It's just knowing that you got to be ready to get called. But I have full confidence in Dylan being able to go, and tonight I was looking at a 6-7 inning performance. But I will say this: that's a good offense. That's not just breezing through that lineup just like ours. So you saw a really good baseball game tonight that looked like a playoff game.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after last night's 7-6 win for the Padres in Seattle. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon. First pitch coming up at 1:10 in Seattle. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
The Dodgers put reliever Alex Vesia on the IL yesterday with an oblique strain. He expects to be back in early September. Orioles righty Kyle Bradish struck out 10 in 6 innings last night. Very impressive return from Tommy John surgery. It was his first start in the major leagues since June of last season. Phillies putting struggling reliever Jordan Romano on the IL yesterday with finger inflammation. A 2-time All-Star in Toronto. Romano signed with the Phillies this past winter. He's been not good. 8.23 ERA this season. Giants righty Justin Verlander recorded his 3,516th career strikeout in his start last night against the Cubs in San Francisco. With that strikeout, he passed Walter Johnson for 9th place all-time on the all-time strikeout list. And that's a look at some quick headlines from around the major leagues. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. When we come back, we give you the latest on Jackson Merrill and Michael King. I also go one-on-one with Padres coach Nick Punto, our keys to the game, and much, much more to come. First pitch coming up at 1:10 on the Padres Radio Network.
Fernando, you're facing a really good... But the Padres continue to play well.
Just to enjoy the experience, man.
And every series has ramifications.
Thank you very much. San Diego Padres. Enjoy the game, everybody. Fernando, congrats on another big win. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Padres post-game show continues. Did you know that every MLB stadium, inside both dugouts, has a set of 3 phones? One that goes to the bullpen, another to each team's video replay room, and one that can communicate with the press box if need be.
I'm a baseball broadcaster, and this week my team is playing in Frisco, Texas. This stadium is home of a lazy river beyond right field. It stretches 174 feet, one of the most unique things in any ballpark in America. And the first ever person to float on this lazy river, NBA star Dirk Nowitzki. Fernando, you were all over the
Start the game. Total game changer.
Everybody's watching baseball right now.
The strategy there.
Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Have you ever been to baseball heaven? That's Cooperstown, New York, home of the Baseball Hall of Fame. From the Babe to Jackie to Hammer and Hank to Sosa and McGuire to Ozzie, Griffey, Pedro, and so many more, this place is a crown jewel of baseball history, celebrating the game we love. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. How do I come up with different words and phrases to say during the game? Let me show you a little trick. In my setup at the stadium, I always have this list of play-by-play phrases. I'll look at it before a game or sometimes between innings. I also keep a running list of new things to use as I hear them when I'm watching or listening to baseball. That's part of how I come up with new ways to say stuff. Fernando.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. You'll hear from Padres coach Nick Punto in just a moment. We also have our keys to the game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup between Yu Darvish and Brian Wu. But first, let's give you the latest on Jackson Merrill and Michael King.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Let's begin with Jackson Merrill. He continues to be on the IL with a left ankle sprain and some bruising in that ankle as well. He'll be eligible to return over the weekend in Minnesota. According to Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune today, he briefly played catch and did light running in the outfield yesterday, took some dry swings in the batting cage. Michael King continues to be on the IL with left knee inflammation, pitched 3 innings in a simulated game on Sunday at Petco Park. He'll throw a bullpen session today in Seattle, and then it sounds like he'll likely pitch a simulated game while the Padres are in Minnesota. So his return will come after that series in Minnesota. Hopefully everything continues to go in the right direction with Merrill and King, and that's a quick update on those two very, very important Padres. Well, Nick Punto is in his first year with the Padres as part of their coaching staff. Punto spent a long, successful major league career, 14 years with a number of different teams, the Phillies, the Twins, the Cardinals, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and the Oakland A's. Played all over the place, primarily second baseman, third baseman, shortstop. Really was a good player on a lot of teams, valuable player on a lot of teams. Finished his major league career in 2014, and for the first time on the Padres Radio Network, we caught up with Nick Punto.
Sam Levitt here on the Padres Radio Network, and right now I'm joined by San Diego Padres Major League coach Nick Punto. Nick, it's great to have you on. First time we've had a chance to talk to you on the radio side of things this season. So let's start with how you got here to San Diego. You finished playing long, successful Major League career in 2014. How did you get here to San Diego?
Well, I was actually coaching high school baseball in my hometown, Santa Margarita Catholic High School over there with Chris Malik. And, I'd been retired for, 10 years basically from the game. And I decided to get back in the game, go coach some high school baseball. And really that kind of fueled my fire to make me realize, no, I need the real elements, the real stadiums, get back to the big leagues. So, yeah, the high school players definitely sparked my interest to know that I still have the fire and the desire to be out here.
I know you had a connection with Mike Schultz going back to your days playing in St. Louis. You won a World Series with the Cardinals. We'll get to that in a little bit. But how did the process go linking up with Mike Schultz and getting on this staff?
So what an honor to get that phone call. I wasn't actively seeking out a job. So it was really nice to hear Mike Schultz, throw my name in the hat. And I know I played with Alan Craig and I played with AJ Ellis. So there was a few names in the hat, I'm sure, that said, hey, let's reach out to Nick Punto. So super grateful. I know it's not a whole lot of guys go from high school baseball back to the big league bench. So very honored, and thanks for the opportunity.
Grew up in Orange County, but you were born in San Diego, grew up going to Jack Murphy Stadium here in San Diego. I would imagine this is kind of a cool thing, a full circle moment to be back here.
It sure is a full circle. Yep, Jack Murphy. I used to sit down the left field line, and Tony Gwynn would hit us foul balls right down that left field line at Jack Murphy. And that's really where I fell in love with baseball. That was about 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. So we'd go to Jack Murphy every Friday night. And, it was then that I fantasized and dreamed that one day I'd be playing on that same field.
Yeah, pretty cool, because you realized it had such a nice major league career. How would you describe your role as a major league coach here with the Padres? What do you do day to day?
Day to day, man, I get to get in the weeds with it all. They've freed me up to do a lot. So I'm helping out, mainly with the base running with David Macias, helping Leaper with the infield, and then Mike McCoy with the bunting. So I get to do a little bit of everything, and then just be out here being a baseball coach, and I love every aspect of it. So it's been great.
As a major leaguer, you played all over the place. You could play second base, shortstop, third base. You dabbled a little bit in the outfield as well. That was one of the things that you brought to so many teams, your versatility. How does that versatility as a player now maybe help you as a coach?
Absolutely, Sam. Great question. It's nice to be able to talk to Gavin Sheets about left field.
Yeah.
Talk to Jackson Merrill about center field, because I do have some reps out there.
Right.
And obviously I can talk to any of the infielders. Didn't play a whole lot of first base, but I'm starting to learn that position as well. So yeah, I enjoy when the guys come to me and have questions and curious, and I love that whole part of it, the coaching part.
Padres coach Nick Punto joining us on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. I want to revisit a couple of aspects about your major league career. You won the World Series with the Cardinals in 2011. When I just say that to you, what are the immediate memories that pop up?
Oh, the immediate memories. It's just, I wish everybody could have that feeling. Like, there's nothing like it. It's every player's dream, especially a player like me who was kind of a role player. I didn't have a chance to win a batting title, an MVP, a Silver Slugger. Like, that wasn't who I didn't have that. I didn't have that God-given ability. So the Mount Rushmore is winning the World Series.
Right.
And I want that so bad for all these guys. Every single one of these players deserves it. They're working hard towards it. And, hopefully one day we can bring that World Championship to San Diego where it belongs.
This team certainly has the talent to reach that final stage and reach that goal and bring that championship to San Diego. To you, in a general sense, what does it take for a group of guys to achieve that goal? You're
seeing it right now, Sam. The way we're playing baseball it is such an unselfish brand of baseball. You got Louis getting sack bunts down, Cronenworth sack bunts down, Freddie Fermin. We're getting runners over. We're doing things that you have to do in playoff baseball because the pitching gets so nasty.
Yeah.
You only face the top 3 pitchers. The 4 and 5 are gone. So it's like you have to be able to scratch out runs and play fundamentally sound. And right now we're on a good path for that.
You played for Tony La Russa in St. Louis. Obviously, Mike Schultz and Tony La Russa, they've always had a very close relationship. I know for Mike, Tony has been one of his mentors. He's talked about it. What's kind of your comparison between Mike and Tony and maybe some of the similarities they share?
Well, their attention to detail is second to none. I mean, they hold that Tony and Mike Schultz both hold their coaches very accountable and expect a lot and demand a lot from us. And we've all bought in. Like there's a reason that Schultz had the success he's had, and he's relentless in the pursuit of winning every day. And I love it because I came from the Tony La Russa school, and I learned a lot. I always felt like Tony was playing chess and everybody else was playing checkers, and there's a feel like that here.
The interesting part about your career, it's not easy to play 14 seasons in the major leagues. And you were not somebody that was a super high draft pick or necessarily a top prospect. And what is generally the advice you give guys that are not only trying to get to the major leagues, but stay in the major leagues no matter where they were drafted or what kind of prospect they are coming out of high school or college or getting signed from the international class? You just got to stay hungry. You got to stay hungry. Always wear that chip on your shoulder.
one of my favorite athletes of all time, Kobe Bryant, that guy was one of the most gifted athletes to ever play on a basketball court, and he still had that chip on his shoulder. So if you can carry that chip and you're a superstar, then you're a Hall of Famer. That's what happens. For me, I never got too high, never got too low, and I always knew I was good enough to be here. So stay confident, dream big, really fantasize, dream about it, and then go be actionable. Go do it. If a kid says, I want to be a Major League Baseball player, there's ways you can find that on the internet, what that looks like, the way you train, the way you eat, the way you sleep. And it's it's a choice you're going to have to make.
Nick, appreciate the time. Great conversation about your career and your role now with the Padres. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number 1, Ramon Laureano doing his thing in the number 2 spot. No Luis Rise in the lineup today. Laureano moved up to the 2 spot playing center field today. Ramon Laureano hit a grand slam, a double, and scored the go-ahead run in last night's Padres win. He's hitting .330 with 6 home runs, 20 RBIs in 24 games since joining the Padres. He's homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. He's homered in 3 straight games, twice in his career. The last time he did it was in 2021. We'll see if Laureano can do that once again here today. Key number 2, a better pen. The Padres bullpen has been shakier in the last 3 games. 13 runs allowed in 12 innings. For a little context, they allowed 13 runs in their prior 16 games combined before this mini 3-game stretch. So we'll see if the Padres bullpen collectively can bounce back today. Although I should mention, yesterday, Morjon, Miller, Estrada, Suarez, 4 scoreless innings in a 1-run game. Key number 3, keep Eugenio Suarez in the yard. Suarez has 4 home runs in his last 10 games. He's on pace to reach 50 home runs for the first time in his career. Padres did not do a good job of that yesterday at the 3-run home run to give the Mariners a brief lead in that bottom half of the 5th inning. And key number 4, don't let the big dumper do damage. Cal Raleigh hit his 50th home run of the season on Monday night, already the most ever by a catcher in a single season. Raleigh went 0 for 4 last night with a walk. Mariners won Monday, Padres won Tuesday. We'll see if they can limit Cal Raleigh once again. He's doing the catching and batting second today for Seattle. And that's a look at our keys to today's game. When we come back, we'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, plus we tell you what to watch for in today's game. Full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup between Yu Darvish and Brian Wu. First pitch coming up at 1:10 right here on the Padres Radio Network.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor league baseball broadcaster. Start my day with a cup of coffee, then to the stadium. Go to my booth, spend the morning cutting video from the night before, catching up on email, and researching for tonight's game. Then I go home, shower, get my work clothes, and on this day, I made a stop for lunch. Barbecue. Then I drive back to the stadium, get our equipment ready like setting up all the mics. I watch batting practice, talk to the players, coaches, write my lineups in, keep researching, and prep for my pregame interviews. Change from this to this. I head down to the field, host my pregame show on TV, then back upstairs where I broadcast every pitch on TV and radio.
And the Soft Poodles win.
When you watch baseball on TV or listen to it on the radio, have you ever wondered how you hear this sound so clearly? At my stadium, that sound comes from this mic behind home plate. It's wired all the way up to my broadcast booth, where I plug it in and that's how you hear it. During my broadcast last night, everyone wanted me to say avocado. Could I do it? Beautiful night here in San Antonio. So nice it almost feels like that feeling when you break open an avocado, you spread it on a good piece of toast, you take a bite in the morning, and with that, the 2021 season, and with that, the 2022 season, and with that, the 2023 season, and with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. Why do I peek down when a fly ball goes in the air? Let me show you. In my scorebook, I write down the defense and where every player is. That way, I can do this. 2-2 on the way. Swinging a drive into left. Going back, Matajevic drifting by the fence. He's looking up and say goodbye.
People keep asking how I go to the bathroom during games. Here's the answer. I run. The bathroom is far away. Really far. I only have 90 seconds.
The bottom half of the 6th
I'm
inning.
always out of breath.
Frisco 3, Amarillo 2.
How other broadcasters handle a foul ball.
Yeah!
How I handle
3-2.
one.
Hit foul, straight back this way. Oh my goodness.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered?
EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 1:10 in Seattle. Rubber game of this 3-game series. We send things up to the Pacific Northwest with Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. in less than 10 minutes. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a few games going on right now. Yankees beating up on the Nationals 11-1 in the Bronx in the 8th inning. Braves lead the Marlins 12-1 in Miami in the 9th inning. Rays and the Guardians are tied at 3 in Cleveland in the 10th. Everything else coming up later. Red Sox and the Orioles at 3:35. Brian Bayo on the mound today for the Red Sox. Twins and the Blue Jays at 4:07 in Toronto. Mets go for a sweep of the Phillies in New York at 4:10. Nolan McLean making his third major league start, 1.46 ERA in his first 2 starts in the major leagues against Taijuan Walker for Philly. Diamondbacks and the Brewers at 4:40 in Milwaukee. Quinn Priester having a good year for Milwaukee on the mound for the Brew Crew. Royals and the White Sox in Chicago at 4:40. Pirates and the Cardinals at 4:45 in St. Louis. Angels and the Rangers in Arlington at 5:05. Rockies and the Astros at 5:10 in Houston. Framber Valdez on the mound tonight for the Astros. Reds and the Dodgers at 5:40 in LA. Nick Lodolo taking the mound for Cincinnati. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for LA. Cubs and the Giants at 6:45 in San Francisco. And finally at 7:05 tonight, Tigers and the A's in Sacramento. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday. We'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later in our post-game coverage. Let's tell you what to watch for in this series finale.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game. Can the big lefty bats keep it rolling? I'm talking about Ryan O'Hearn, DHing batting cleanup, Gavin Sheets in left field batting 6th. Let's begin with Sheets. He had another hit and 2 runs scored last night. His double started that critical rally in the 6th inning. Sheets is batting .364 with 3 home runs, 6 doubles in his past 12 games. His .1235 OPS in that span is 4th highest in the major leagues among players with at least 35 plate appearances in that span. Ryan O'Hearn is also hot. He went 2 for 4 with a double and a walk last night. He's batting .341 with 2 home runs, 3 doubles in his past 13 games. So what to watch for here in this series finale? Can O'Hearn and Sheets, the big lefty bats, keep it going? They have both been really, really good as of late. Our starting pitching matchup today, Brian Wu on the mound for Seattle, Yu Darvish on the mound for San Diego. Let's dive in.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Right-hander Brian Wu on the mound for Seattle, 25 years old. He is really good. 11-7, 2.94 ERA on the season, 25 starts, 159 innings. He struck out 160, walked only 30. Last start against the A's, he went 7 innings, 1 earned run given up, 1 hit allowed. The 1 hit he gave up was a home run from Brent Rooker. He's been great in the month of August. 4 starts and a 3.08 ERA, 33 strikeouts in 26 innings. Wu provides a ton of length. He's thrown 6 innings in every single one of his 25 starts this season. The last pitcher with a longer single-year streak of that kind was Zach Greinke back in 2015. He went at least 6 innings in all 32 of his starts in 2015. How amazing is this streak? Let me give you a little context. The next longest active streak of 6 innings, at least 6 innings, in consecutive starts, the injured Spencer Schwellenbach of the Braves. He's at 10 starts in a row of at least 6 innings. And again, Wu is at 25 in a row this season. He's made 2 career starts against the Padres, a 1.98 ERA in 13-plus innings. That includes a really good outing against the Padres back in May in San Diego, gave up just 1 run in 7 strong innings. Meanwhile, 39-year-old right-hander Yu Darvish on the mound for San Diego, 3-3, 5.36 ERA, 9 starts on the season. Darvish was terrific against the Dodgers on Friday at Petco Park. He went 6 innings, 1 earned run given up, 1 hit allowed. The only hit he gave up was a solo home run to Alex Freeland. Darvish has been very good against the Mariners as a Padre. 3-0 against them with a 1.04 ERA in 4 starts since joining the Padres back in 2021. He has a 3.61 ERA in 7 career starts in Seattle. Something to note with Darvish, he's given up 5 home runs in his last 4 starts. The Mariners, as you probably know by now, they're a great home run hitting team. They have the 3rd most home runs of any team in baseball this season. So Darvish will have to try to keep the Mariners in the yard today. Another matchup to note, Luke Raley is in the lineup today for Seattle. Just worth noting, he's 5 for 10 with a home run and 2 doubles in his career against Yu Darvish. Not a matchup that you would typically circle considering some of the names in this Seattle lineup, but keep an eye on that one. Luke Raley against Yu Darvish. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup today. Darvish for the Pods and Wu for the M's. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Well, the Padres lost a tough one on Monday night. Then they played a seesaw battle last night. They won it 7-6, and now the Padres try to win this series against a very, very good Mariners team in Seattle. Should be a lot of fun. Little Wednesday matinee in the Pacific Northwest. And when we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game show coming up later on this afternoon. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, Padres fans.